You are one click away, you or your kids are actually one click away from accessing the wrong things on the internet. But if I told you there's a solution for that, you can make one change on your phone or your laptop that will make sure you don't, you, even if they were to click on, say, unajua those, one of those sites, you're browsing something very normal, and then there's a pop-up that comes, you click on it, it takes you to a wrong place, and potentially an adult site, or potentially a site that has malware, or and the malware is something that can infect your computer. Whatever I told you is something you can do. So I want us to work together and show you how to make that change on your computer. So what we're going to do is we're going to change. You have to understand where you're coming from first. Now, you connect to the Wi-Fi. You connect your laptop or your phone to the Wi-Fi. Once you connect, you receive some automatic configuration. Depending on who set up the network, that automatic configuration means that when you go to that website, say google.com, who actually translates these websites. Okay? Now, for context, whenever you go online and you type google.com, that request has to be translated to an IP address, and then that IP address takes you to google.com. The same way you do on your phone. You want to call your friend, he's called Andrew. You go on your phone, you look for Andrew, type in, then the phone starts ringing. But essentially what happens in the back end is this. Your phone has Andrew and also Andrew's phone number. Safaricom does not get the name Andrew. What they get is the phone number. And then they direct that request to the right, to Andrew. Okay, so it's the same thing. If you do google.com, the servers do not get the request google.com. They get an IP address and then takes me to google.com. So we will now want to hijack that process of resolution. It's called an address resolution process. So that resolution of google.com, we want to hijack it so that if, for example, I'm looking for a site that say adult content, then immediately it does not give me results. Okay, how do we do that? We're going to change one thing called the DNS, and it is so simple to change it on your phone or even on your laptop. One thing you need to do is, one of the things you can do is go to Cloudflare. Now, Cloudflare, they have given us a free service that you can be able to do this, and they have different services, but today I want to focus only on the malware blocking and adult content. Now, what we want to change is the DNS. You can see, for example, on my screen, we have malware blocking only. That means if you make these changes here, that is 1.1.1.2 and .2 at the end here, then you will essentially only be blocking malware. But if you want to block malware and adult content, then you make the change for your DNS to either of these two. So let's make a change on my computer. Okay, so I'm going to go to my computer here, go to network, and we have established what we want to achieve here is to block this. So what we want to use is 1.1.1.3 and 1.0.0.3. So I'm going to go to my computer. I'm going to click on Ethernet. Then I go to IP assignment. So below IP assignment, I can see DNS server assignment. I'm going to change this from automatic. I'm going to make it manual. I'm going to enable the IPv4 and make the change. So we said the change is what? 1.1.1.3. I'm just going to change that, put it there as my preferred DNS. Then it's going to ask me for an alternative DNS. I'm going to use this second one here. Now, in some computers, it will be secondary DNS, alternative DNS, is all the same. So I'm going to make that change there. Now, just before I click save, I want us to test whether I can actually access adult content. Now, however, don't be too scared. I'm not going to open any adult site. In fact, I don't know either. But let me open a site called malware.testcategory.com. So if I'm not blocking anything, this site should be able to load. And you can see it's telling me if you expected this category to be blocked, please check your computer DNS resolver settings. Again, nudity.testcategory.com. If I open that site, it automatically loads. Now, I'm going to come back here and click save. Once I click save, I'm going to come to this site again, nudity.test, and click on it. Because the browser is already caching, I've already loaded this. I'm going to open a private screen, a private window which does not cache the information, and try to open. You can see my site cannot be reached. I'm also going to test the other one. The other one was malware. Okay. You remove nudity, you say malware.testcategory.com. Okay, try opening it, it does not work. Now, while we are on this private window, I'm going to remove the automatic settings again so that you can see the change. So I'm going to come here and make it automatic so that it is my router or my ISP giving me the configuration that we have chosen. And I'm going to refresh this. Okay, you see now it loads. That means that any malware site can be able to load on my network. So with that one simple change, you don't have to buy anything, you don't have to subscribe to anything. You just need to make that change on whatever network you are accessing, and you're safer. You're one step closer to absolute safety. Now, I will also show you on how to do it on the phone. On the phone might be a little bit different. There are two ways that you can do it depending on your phone. You can download the app, that is the 1.1.1 app from Cloudflare, or you can go to your settings manually and make the changes. We're going to do it together. So let's see how we can set this up on Android phone. Okay. So the first thing that you'll do, there are two ways of doing this. You can either do it using the app or you can do it manually. I'll start with the app. So go to Play Store, download your app. So on Play Store, okay, so go to Play Store and download an app called, just look for Cloudflare Families. You'll see an app there called 1.1.1.1, 4 ones. Okay. Once you download that application, it will bring you will open it, and then you need to install a VPN profile. So as you can see on my screen, I will just install the VPN profile. It asks me connection requests, blah blah blah. You see okay. The profile has been installed. Once it is installed, I do what? I can enable the WAP. Okay. So just for your understanding, what is happening here? Basically, WAP creates a secure connection between your phone and Cloudflare servers. So any traffic that you want to send will now be sent through that tunnel. So the tunnel is basically a private, it's like a pipe. It's a logical pipe from your phone to the Cloudflare servers. So while we are here, that one is, you can see now we are connected, and it's saying my internet is private. So what this means is that whatever I'm browsing from this phone, even my ISP cannot see it. It is going directly to Cloudflare servers. Then from Cloudflare servers, it breaks out to the internet. So this is kind of like it's a VPN. Now, to make it private, we have to do something else. We go to settings. Once we go to settings, we go to advanced. Then we go to connection options, and then we go to DNS settings, and we say, you can see 1.1.1 for families is none. Okay, it's disabled. So we need to enable it here. You just say block malware or block malware and adult content. So for testing purposes, let's do this. Let's try to go to the browser. Whatever browser that you use, let's see. I think I can go to, I don't even have a browser here. Wait can see Google here. So let's go to Google. And then we're going to go to a website that is going to test our connection. So it's called nudity.testcategory.com. Then we go to that site. Nudity. So we are on Google, so I'll just click on that site. And what does it tell us? This is a test website provided by Cloudflare. So it is showing us that indeed we're able to access the site. So we're going to go back to the application here, and then we're going to block malware and adult content. So to test adult content, you go to nudity. To test malware, you go to malware. So both that is malware.testcategory.com and nudity.testcontent.com. Testcategory.com, sorry. So now you can see 1.1.1 for families. We are blocking malware and adult content. We can go back and back again. We are still connected. Our internet is private. Now we're going to go to this site and try to load it again. But this time, I'm going to go back, click on the site, see if it loads, and it loads. Voila. We did not do nothing. Just a minute. So let me just download something here. I'll just go and look for go to Play Store. Now, one thing with modern browsers, what they do is that they encrypt the DNS traffic. So I'm just going to look for a browser that I would recommend you to use, called Brave. We'll talk about that later. So let's download Brave and see if we can test with it. Now the good thing about Brave is that it does not, if you're on YouTube, it does not give you those annoying pop-ups, and also it blocks YouTube ads. Yes, so we open Brave. So once you open Brave, we will go and test the site. So let's test now. From here we say nudity.testcategory.com. So if we go to that site, right now as it is, we have enabled on WAP. We go to WAP, we have enabled private DNS. Okay. Your internet is not private. Let's go back here. Wait, sorry. Let's enable. Now, I'm using Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi in my house. The Wi-Fi in my house has already been enabled for this kind of connection, for private connection. So by default, it will not load. So let's reload this and see if it works. Of course, it works. Okay. So that is one way of doing it. If we go now to, I'm going to disable the WAP on the screen, and then we're going to do it manually. So how long would you like to disable that for? I will say, let me switch back to DNS enabled mode only. So this is now WAP. WAP has two modes that you can operate on. Sorry, this app, the 1.1.1 app, has two modes that you can operate on. You can operate on either WAP or the 1.1.1 mode, which is a DNS only mode. Now you don't need the WAP profile working for you to continue. You can just enable the 1.1.1 mode, and that will, once you click on it, once you enable that mode, it will give you, it will just take care of the DNS, that is the name resolution of the sites that you want to visit. It will take care of them, make them private, and of course you have the option of configuring the family connection settings. Okay, making it more secure. So right now you can see we are blocking malware and adult content, which is what we want to do. So I'm going now to disable the app entirely, basically assuming that you're not using the app. Now remember, one of the advantages of using the app is that even if you go to, say maybe I go to another Wi-Fi, or I use mobile data, as long as the app is installed and is connected, which is always normally, then I am protected. Now, if you do it manually, you may have to do it for every connection that you connect. So if you was to give this phone to my child, I am pretty sure they will not be able to go to this app as yet. My kids are still very young. Maybe your child is more tech savvy, so you need to know which ages you're talking about. But when they're still young, they are not looking at all these apps. They probably want to go to just a gaming app and go to the internet and do what they do, maybe watch YouTube and all that. So they're not interfering with the other apps as yet. So I'm sure if I give them this phone, whatever they are accessing is protected. Okay. So we're going to do it manually. I'm going to show you how to do the settings manually. Now on my phone, you can see I'm using mobile data. I'm using mobile data, so I'm going to go to settings here. Then on the settings, we're going to go to network and internet. Then I will say private DNS. You can see private DNS off. I'm just going to tap on it. I put private DNS provider name. Okay. Now for this, we'll have to use what has been provided to us from the website. So here we cannot use the IP address. So remember, previously we were using 1.1.1.3 or 1.0.0.3. Now here we have to use the name representing that IP address. So the name representing that IP address is family. Okay. family.cloudflare-dns. family.cloudflare-dns.com. Then we save. I put the private DNS family.cloudflare-dns.com, and immediately I do, we can go back to the browser. We're going to refresh this page and see whether we still can access. Okay. So again, we go to malwaretestcategory.com. You can see immediately it blocks it. We are not able even to go there. New DT category, I'm just going to do it again. New DT.test category is saying, so the way you can see the way it has loaded this is because it is cached. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this site and open a private window. So when I open a private window, what normally happens is that website is not stored on my phone. It has to fetch the website every time afresh. .com. I'm going to enter it, and immediately you can see we are blocked. If I go to my settings, just to verify, I go to private DNS, I say it is off, and I save. I go back to the page, I reload, immediately it loads. So that is how you protect yourself from yourself or even your child from accessing adult content as well as malware. Now don't take my word for it. Use your favorite adult content site, or rather, you may not have a favorite, I expect as much, but you can ask your friends which sites they have heard of in the news, I don't know, something like that, and then try to access and see if it's going to work. Now, remember, as you test, not to get carried away. The goal here is to protect you and your family, not to lead you to temptations. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's continue building.